Hello, everyone. The Vikings just beat the Dolphins 24-16. Vikings are now 5-1 on the season. Can you believe it? How many people would have predicted that before the season started? I mean, yes, the wins haven't been very impressive, especially these last four, but in the end, wins are wins, especially they're doing it with a first-year head coach. So it's been nice. And yes, at the end, even though they took a 24-10 lead, the game for the most part was very neck and neck. And at the end, of course, things got interesting as usual. I mean, the Dolphins had to do an onside kick. Vikings did recover and got to put the game away. But so former Viking Teddy Bridgewater played most of the game. Skylar Thompson left with a thumb injury, and Teddy overall he played a good game. I mean, in the beginning he didn't do so well. He picked it up at the end and was actually keeping the Dolphins in the game. But then he had that huge interception to Patrick Peterson, Patrick Peterson, by the way, had a huge game. In addition to that interception, on one possession in the third quarter, he had back-to-back pass breakups. Harrison Smith had a huge interception in the second quarter, or late in the second quarter, which later led to a field goal. He also forced a fumble that helped put the game away too. Zadarius Smith, what a pickup he has been. He had 2 sacks. He has 5.5 on the season after just 6 games. So yeah, the former Packer is looking great. And then Kirk Cousins did not play his best game, but in the end, he threw 2 touchdowns, didn't turn the ball over. Dalvin Cook, he has not looked the same this year, although when he broke that 53-yard touchdown at the end, that's when we were all Vikings fans supposed to be thinking, hey, that's the Dalvin that we run, or that we all love on that huge run. Yeah, and then Jordan Hicks, another offseason addition, has been having a good year. He had 11 tackles and a sack. He's been looking pretty good. Yeah, and then overall, and the Packers, on the other end, they lost 27-10 at home to the Jets. They're 3-3 on the year, so Vikings hold a 2-game lead over them. Currently have the tiebreaker since they beat them in week 1. And last week I actually felt that the Packers should still be considered the favorites to win this division. I mean, but right now you have to say the Vikings are the favorites to win the division. Now, can things change? They definitely could. If we still got 11 more games to go, we'll see. Can the Vikings also stay healthy for the most part? That will be huge too. Yeah, but overall, things right now are looking up for the Vikings. I know, yes, they're not as good as their record says they are. I mean, they could easily have lost 3 more games or even 4 more games. They've had some lucky bounces going their way, not just during the games, but then also from the injury standpoints. Today, they didn't have to face Tua. Then 2 weeks ago in London, they didn't have to face, against the Saints, they didn't have to face Jameis Winston and Michael Thomas, and then there was the 61-yard miss, the double doink. Yeah. So, but anytime you're 5-1, that's always something to be happy about, especially under a first-year head coach. I'm sure there are many that didn't even think this team would make the playoffs, which is understandable. They missed the playoffs the last 2 years, and despite the fact that they added some key free agents, they also, again, they had a first-year head coach. And even the people that were very pumped about Kevin O'Connell, a lot of them were thinking, okay, he's a first-year head coach, he's going to have some growing pains. So, I was one of those people that felt he's going to have some growing pains. But even though I was excited about him, but yeah, overall, he's doing a pretty good job. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does, not just the rest of this year, but the rest of his tenure with the Vikings, whether that's, I don't know, another 5 years, another 10 years. That'll be very interesting to see. And before the start of the season, I thought this team would go 10-7 and be a wild card team. Maybe that could still happen, but maybe they'll win 11 games. And I don't want to jump the gun too much, maybe even 12 wins. But yeah, but right now this team looks like they can win the division. I mean, now have they played better than we expected? The Packers are looking worse than normal, so the rest of the season should definitely be interesting. Skull.